this black family exists in their own world in a way. It's not plays just about being black, it's about being.
My name is Aldo Billingslea, and I get the honor and privilege of playing Troy Maxson in Fences.
Margo Hall, and I'm playing Rose.
Giuseppe Jones, and I play Bono.
Lance Gardner, and I'm playing Lions in Fences.
J. Alphonse Nicholson, and I'm playing Corey in Fences, directed by Raelle, Myrick-Hodges.
Donald Lacey, and I'm playing Gabriel. And wow, incredible character. Anytime, well, I always like to say when I do August Wilson, you don't do August Wilson, he does you.
There's a story about the Olympic gods taking on the Titans, and then the Titans are defeated when Zeus holds up the Titan, and he can't touch the earth, and he loses his power. And we, not being able to touch back to our history, can lose a sense of ourselves or identity and lose our power. Right. And it's so yeah, I don't want to just use empowerment, but it's an act of empowerment to find out where you've come from, to see who you really are.
It's like when you pick up a language and it's your own, and you don't have to work hard at it, it just falls out of your mouth. It's my grandmother's, it's my mother's, it's my auntie's.
So for me, reading that was it was very personal. It was my first concept that a black person could be included and be central, included in and central to a play.
Whenever I do any of his, or even when I see his works that I'm just watching as an audience member, it always affects me in a deep, profound way.
It's beautiful. I think August Wilson has a magic and a mysticism to his language while still being so rooted in the reality of our times.
There's always someone in your family who, how we say, they have a way with language. And they either can curse really well in a way that, they just lay it in, and it's like, that's poetry. And he has this way of taking that, making all of his characters have that nuance about them, where they have this gift of language. They actually know how to layer in these images that create this poetry. And they exist in the black community. And so he's brought those voices, but he puts them all together in a room. So you have all of that poetry. And again, it's not like we're thinking this is poetry, but the way he articulates a feeling, it goes so deep. And it's a way that a brilliant writer, a brilliant, it's almost like a scholar of this type of black language comes in and lays it out, and then you're hearing it from all the characters, not just that one aunt who could just slay you with a line,
And I was like, wow, who is this guy? And I started reading his plays, and I was just blown away, particularly as a black actor, to not only his use of language, but the ritual, the way he's captured our history, the way he deals with how not only slavery has affected us from back then, but how it affects us moving even forward into the 21st century.
I think he's captured an enormous part of black experience, and particularly East Coast, or northeastern black experience, and the experience of people migrating from the South to come north.
It's like, we don't just walk around and talk about, oh, I'm black, I'm poor. We walk around and have affairs and get upset and have fun laughing and clean collard greens and all these wonderful things that he brings to the table.
He came to me in a dream once, I feel like, and he was just sitting on the edge of my bed, just talking to me, and I feel like he talks to me through my uncles and people who I've had past relationships with, people I know. And when I speak to those people on the phone, I feel like, and especially if I'm working on an August Wilson piece, I say, oh man, that's what he was talking about. Or, this is the guy that he was talking about.
as a young man, there's a lot that you don't understand about an older man, and about, even as a young man, a lot that you don't understand about your own relationship to your father.
He just opens up so many things for you, not only in your life and your relationship. Particularly, I think a lot about my father because of the relationship between Corey and Troy, and the relationship Troy and his father, and black fathers, and how important my father was in my life. You know,
my father was a very large person and a larger-than-life figure. There's a history of violence and lack of education, formal education, and infidelities, and all sorts of half brothers and sisters, and
I lost my father when I was 12 years old. He had a heart attack, and so I wasn't able to build the father-son relationship that a normal teenager would be able to build. I had a lot of father figures in my life, so I still felt like a son. So I feel like I missed some of it, but now I feel some sense of joy that he watches, he looks down on me, he's proud of that. But I have a son now. So, and my son is 5. And so everything that I see him going through, I can, even though it's so small, and it's not quite the same as the things that are Corey going through, I can kind of understand it in a way. The conversations that he and I have, that struggle, and what it is to really want something and not be able to articulate it in a way that you want to your father, or feel like that he doesn't understand you. I'm able to understand those things even more now through my son.
I've never been convinced that a son has any responsibility to anyone or anything. I was and am an irreverent son, and as a kid and a teenager, I took the stance that I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for you to put me here. And now that I'm a father, that I don't think that's changed. I see a lot more happiness, I think, in my children than I did in my own childhood. Yeah. And so I think to be a son is to figure out what kind of father you want to be.
And I think Corey, similar to myself and similar to a lot of young black men here, they want to find a way to get out of the situation that they're currently in. Not that it's a horrible situation, because the thing about poverty and those type of things, some people may believe that people hate poverty and everything like that, but for me, I got very immune to it. I was able to endure a lot of things, and you get kind of used to it in a sense, but that doesn't mean that you don't want to go further. That doesn't mean that you want to get complacent and stay in that place. You want to find yourself constantly growing, and I think that means a lot to Corey.
I reach deep into this story to try to find out what is my relationship with Corey. Yeah. A lot of what we hear in the language is Corey do this, Corey do that, Corey go do this. But there's a tenderness I think she has for him because she understands his struggle. Just like, because Troy is also that shadow over her. Yeah. So.
My first ever college professor, who's a great friend of mine, lover like family, goes to New York around Christmas, sees fences, sees James Earl Jones, sees the curtain call where somebody with a camera stood up to take a picture, and James Earl Jones came to the curtain call with the baseball bat, and he points the baseball bat directly to them, shakes his head no, and you watch the photographer slowly sit down. She comes back and says, there's this play. It's so wonderful. And at 21 years old, I am absolutely right for Corey. And I read the play and I go, but Troy's a better character. A 21-year-old, and I go into ERDA auditioning with Troy, with Troy's speeches, because the size of them, and then he's talking about these physical things, and And this baseball as a metaphor, you know, death ain't nothing to me but a fastball on the outside corner. You know what I do one of those. And the language, just like that, which is not a speech that I've actually been working on yet, but it comes back to me and it rolls off my tongue much better than the Shakespeare ever did when I was trying to work on the Shakespeare in college, or the Chekhov, or the Ibsen, all these other writers, even the Arthur Miller, the things that are more contemporary, they don't sound like that. And all of a sudden, as I'm reading through this play and I'm saying these lines, I can hear my mother's voice, the way my mother would sometimes talk, not always, but particularly when he gets angry, Troy starts to speak in a way, the rhythms and the words that are chosen. I can hear my dad, I can hear, these are my people, but with the poetry that's actually in that language, it's just life-changing. Cal Shakes is going to touch this point of American history that we all need. That's not just black history, that's all of our history. As much as Shakespeare is all of ours, this work is all of ours and helps us all collectively move forward. I'm afraid that I won't do it the justice it deserves. Because I might have to go to places that that might seem, from one perspective, selfish or ugly or mean or whatever, or that emotionally I'll have to go to places that are demanding for me as an actor, or that the ability to share that with a larger audience on an outdoor stage that hits 400 people, that the magnanimity, the magnitude of that moment, that I might not be able to do it all the way that I really know that it should be done, that I might be found wanting in some way. It scares the hell out of me.
Womanhood is caretaker. Womanhood is keeping everything in order.
Right.
Keeping, like she says, the clean sheets on the bed, cooking the supper, making sure that she is the nurturer. She is fulfilling all those aspects of the men. But I don't know if Rose really has the opportunity to enjoy her womanhood. I mean,
interesting.
It's 1950. Troy says, I go upstairs in that room and I blow a hole, you know, whatever his way of describing their intimate relationship. It doesn't sound that fun.
My mother is extremely important to me because she took on the role as a mother and a father. And in this play, you know, as hard as Rose works, my mother in the play, it reminds me as hard as my mother worked and what it takes to really uphold a family, even though you're going through so many things. And the child, at times, may not know everything that's going on. He may have a sense. So I think Rose just almost being the center of this play and being so delicate as a rose is, you know, but also so tough with the thorn that comes with that rose, you know, in a sense.
When she starts to realize that she has sacrificed 18 years for something like this, it is time now to find myself. I mean, I don't think she's going to run out and have an affair,
Right.
But I do think that she's going to get more involved in the church. She's going to get more involved in things that she likes. She may start selling clothes that she's sewing. I think that it's a time for her to really bloom, because she had set all of her, you know, she says, I planted myself inside you and waited to bloom. And she never bloomed because the soil was hard and rocky. But now she can bloom because she's decided that that's not where she should plant her seeds, in his heart.
I love women. I grew up in a house full of women. There was my three sisters, my mother, and my grandmother stayed with us some of the time. So I feel like, you know, women are better. Sorry. Not to pander or anything. There's no women in here to impress. I don't know if women will be watching this, but it's a fact. Women are better, men suck. Quote me.
I know what that is. I know what that is to go out and say, I need to leave this and do me. And it's like your light just shines. And you live again.